Hi, I'm Emma. I'm the School and Youth Programs Manager at the Bainbridge Island Museum of Art, and I'm here today for another Art in Action BIMA from home. Today we're going to be weaving paper. If you've ever been curious about weaving, a great way to get started and see if you like it is by just weaving strips of paper together. So all you need for this project is a pair of scissors and some colorful paper, and we'll try it out. So to get started, you'll need to determine what is going to be your warp, or the kind of the structure of your weaving, the vertical lines that you'll be working with, versus your weft, which is the horizontal lines or the paper strips that I have here. So for my warp, I'm folding a long piece of paper in half and then cutting even slits, not through the ends, you want to leave it attached on the ends, but doing evenly spaced slits here that will be the base, the warp, or the structure of the weaving. And if you were working on a loom, this would be the strings that are attached to the loom. So you can see those slits there. And then I start working with my strips of paper, and these are all cut to be the same width as the warp. But these are my weft. These are the pieces that will be woven throughout, and you can see that I'm alternating over and under and then gently sliding the paper up to the very top. And weaving is a really repetitive process. You just keep going like that. So there are really no limits to what's possible with this kind of work. You can work on making patterns using color. You can work on making patterns alternating the over-under process. You can see here that the strips of paper I'm using have different thicknesses, so that is making a pattern in itself, even though all I'm doing is alternating over and under. The great thing about this kind of weaving project is that you can keep experimenting. It's really easy to undo if you have a mistake or retry it. And if you want to be a little bit more precise with creating your warp or your weft, you can use an X-Acto blade or other kind of cutting tool to make really carefully measured out strips. But I was just eyeballing it on this one. And that's it. So we hope that you will try this out and share what you're making in the comments below. And we'll see you next time for Art in Action, BIMA from home.
Hi, I'm Jeannie Falls. I'm the director of the Pike Market Senior Center and Food Bank, and I'm going to show you how to make a simple baked frittata. Now, in our kitchen, we usually wear face masks, but because it's hard to hear me if I wear this, I'm taking it off. All right, so I'm going to use, this is just an 8-inch cake pan, which I think most people have in their larder. And you could use a skillet as long as the handle is oven safe. So I'm going to spray this with some cooking oil so that it doesn't stick. So if you don't have a can of spray oil, it's perfectly fine to use a little butter and just put it on a paper towel and rub it on the pan just like you would a regular cake pan. We're just trying to keep the omelet from sticking. And then I have 6 eggs here. And then I have a potpourri of ingredients. Now, you can put absolutely anything you want into a frittata. At the Pike Market Senior Center, we make a frittata for like 100 people every day, and we take what was left over from lunch. It could be delicious chicken fajita, it could be roasted cauliflower, and we put it in the frittata for the next day, and it's always delicious. The ingredients I have here are some grated cheese. This was some leftover sausage, some sliced mushrooms, a little zucchini, and a little bit of red pepper. And again, as I said, it could be anything. And if you like spicy, I can't tell you how good it is to add a jalapeno pepper. All right. So I'm just going to crack the eggs. There's 6 of them here, and that's about right for an 8-inch cake pan. So I'm doing 6 eggs, but at the Pike Market Senior Center, Brandon has to do a whole lot more. More like 100. We don't actually use a whisk to beat up the eggs. We use a gigantic immersion blender because we are cooking for so many people. All right, so this is just a regular whisk. You can use a fork if you don't have a whisk, and I'm just beating the eggs up well. And I'm gonna add just a little bit here of salt and pepper. And again, if I were cooking in the kitchen at the Pike Market Senior Center, I would be wearing gloves. But since I'm cooking for myself, I'm just gonna beat these up. All right. Now I'm gonna take some of these little, the vegetables that I have, and I'm just gonna scatter them in the bottom of this pan. And I'm gonna wait on the cheese because I think it's nice to put that on the top. So there you are. There's just some vegetables in the bottom, and I'm gonna take the frittata, the beaten eggs, and I'm just gonna pour it over them. And then I'll take the cheese and I will sprinkle it over the top. So then we're all ready. That's all you have to do, and you put it in the oven. So I'm gonna cook this at 350 degrees for about 10 minutes. So Brandon's taking the omelet out that we made for the Senior Center breakfast tomorrow. We have probably 70 people, and look how delicious that looks. We serve a hot breakfast every day. So it's been 10 to 12 minutes, so I'm gonna take the frittata out of the oven. Oh, look how beautiful and puffed up that is with the brown cheese and the vegetables. So this is gonna be delicious for breakfast. So it's really hard to eat a whole 6-egg frittata in one sitting. So I was gonna suggest that possibly for lunch, you make yourself a frittata sandwich. It's really delicious. And I just want to point out that frittatas are made with eggs, and we've added vegetables, so it meets many of the nutrients that you need for a good balanced meal. So again, I'm Jeannie with the Pike Market Senior Center and Food Bank. Thank you for watching our frittata making class.
To show you the highlights of what this complete rebuilding of Frederick Nelson has produced is the purpose of this, your invitation to visit the store, to become acquainted with the foundation of the familiar triad, quality, service, integrity. Your invitation extends for not only 1, but for 10 wonderful floors of Frederick Nelson. Let's go up. When you accept your invitation, visit the popular dining rooms in the store. Here again, attractive surroundings and gracious hospitality make your first impression a pleasant one. In the tea room on the 8th floor, those qualities combine with the finest cuisine to win an ever-growing clientele. Wide windows reveal a panoramic view out over the city's skyline, over Elliott Bay toward West Seattle on the west, and northwest across Puget Sound toward the lofty, snow-topped Olympic Mountains. For the diner whose schedule is exact, the Continental Buffet offers menus that make luncheon genuinely a high point of the day. The rhododendron, Washington State's official flower, decorates the China service. The kitchen area, which serves the 3 restaurants on the 8th floor, is staffed by food artists. The kitchen is equipped with stainless steel cabinets and accessories. The care with which this food preparation center is maintained has been recognized in the restaurant profession as one of the finest in the country. In every detail of operation, it's the focal point of the food department of Frederick Nelson. Another popular unit of the store's food operation is the Paul Bunyan Kitchen, located on the budget floor. Decorative highlights of the Paul Bunyan Kitchen are the colorful murals which depict the life and time of the legendary master woodsman Paul Bunyan. Here in broad, humorous mood, the foibles and eccentricities of the mighty Paul and his blue ox babe seem to come alive before the diner's eyes. In the popular men's grill on the 8th floor, Seattle businessmen have a fine restaurant rendezvous offering excellent food in a setting just right for those all-important luncheon conferences. The decor is highlighted by colorful prints of early model cars. A conversation piece, perhaps, but if not, no matter. For men at lunch enjoying good food graciously served never lack for words.
The wonderful thing about architecture is that symbolism is deeply part of it. The styles, the influences, and the expressions come from different cultures, different eras. Architecture builds on itself.
The unique shape of the Space Needle has made it retain interest until today. I mean, even though they might think of Starbucks and Microsoft, it's the Space Needle that's really what everyone wants to know about when they come to Seattle.
The Space Needle has this beautiful grace. It is ladylike, it's a ballerina, it's something of substance, and it's of great beauty. And why is that? How did we get that?
Is it a building or is it a piece of sculpture? A building serves a function. A sculpture is just a sculpture. And I think it's a little bit of both. Why does that form combine art and architecture? Well, it was inspired by art in the first place.
Everybody's planning to see Seattle's spectacular $100 million World's Fair.
So pack up your troubles and forget your care. Pack up your family and head for the fair in Seattle.
In 1962, Seattle was dominated by Boeing and other Safeco and other large firms.
It was really a time of hope for Seattle and for Washington State. It was signaling that Seattle was going into the future as a major city.
You know, the forward frontier, the Jetsons, the future in space. People at that time, they wanted to promote Seattle.
What kind of a city would give rise to such a surprisingly different tower? It's an impatient, forward-minded city where men like to look to the future.
So the fair was fairly far along in the planning effort when Eddie Carlson, who was head of the fair, was in Stuttgart, Germany, had dinner in a radio tower, and thought, gosh, we need something to really show off Seattle and show off the fairgrounds, and a tower would be wonderful. So he called John Graham there that night, and they had some pencil drawings that they worked on, and John Graham had a large architectural firm in Seattle, and they had many people grinding out ideas, and some were balloons held by cables, and others were big steel, building going up. And John never felt that they really had, the right feeling. And so he reached out to a University of Washington architecture professor, Victor Steinbrück.
My dad came in late in the game, I understand, because they were struggling for the right idea, the right concept that was futuristic, cool, had a wow effect, and would be, the talk of the town. But whatever they did, it had to support a flying saucer-like restaurant top. And he relished the opportunity because this was something to do something really important, progressive in terms of the world of architecture and design. He was motivated to come up with something that was truly cutting edge in terms of engineering and architectural expression.
You know, if you're going to study the form or the shape of the Space Needle, you have to start at the beginning, of course, which is the obelisks in ancient Egypt. It's a pedestal with this rising straight form. And then more current times, of course, you look at the Eiffel Tower, which is a similar type of thing. You might want to call some of these phallic. Some people do see it that way, that they're male forms.
The earliest designs that I'd seen sketches of that were not by my father were actually borrowed from the Washington Monument. So you had an obelisk with a saucer at the top poking through it. And my dad didn't like that at all. He thought that was terrible. It was just, there was no aesthetic quality to it. And it was borrowing from a static old form made of stone, basically. It had no elegance.
Of course, I can't imagine that the towers that were constructed for the World's Fair didn't have some type of influence on the shape of the Space Needle, because that's what people were looking at. So you look at, again, Paris, and then you look at the 1933 Chicago World's Fair and the 1939 New York World's Fair. Then you start seeing these more curvilinear forms after the war. You look at 1958, which is the Brussels World's Fair, and that's when it starts getting atomic. They always reflect the design aesthetic of the times. But where did those design ideas come from?
In 2012, we were getting ready to celebrate our 50th anniversary of the Space Needle. And we looked back through our archives and tried to, we were putting a book together and trying to find interesting facts and directions that people were leaning. And so we came across a reference to the feminine one in Victor Steinbrueck's office.
He tells the story in a journal that I have that he wrote in December of 1960, a handwritten journal. Feeling that I needed to try for some fresh ideas without the pressure of producing something with the forms that Graham liked in the office, I started to work at home looking for ideas.
And Victor took that summer and just, worked alone, just kept coming up with ideas. And at one point, he looked across his table, and there he had a beautiful wood sculpture. And suddenly it dawned on him that this beautiful sculpture really represented how he wanted to go, and he used that as his guiding light.
So one evening, I thought of and put down on paper the essential concept that has become the needle. When I had drawn the idea in my office, I came out and told Elaine that, I've got it, the idea that they'll take for the tower. The source of the idea is the wooden sculpture of David Lemon's that we had for about 10 years. Dave calls it the feminine one.
And he had that sitting at the end of his desk when he was working daily on the design, a new design, and outside the box design of the Space Needle. That's where this idea came from. When we became aware of The Feminine One by David Lemon, I really wonder what he was thinking about when he came up with the idea, when he carved this. It does have that grace of a woman dancer and with her arms up over her head.
In the 1930s, when David Lemon would have been active here, there was a great group of artists here during the Depression, but it was small. I mean, it's not the same as New York, obviously, or Philadelphia. We had an active group, and they all basically knew each other.
There was a very rich arts and cultural community here in Seattle that thrived. And my dad, it was something that was very important to him. And so many of his best friends were in fact artists.
People like Martha Graham, Sevilla Fort, and other dancers, you know, they made it big. And so they were a source of inspiration for the local artists. In fact, Sevilla Fort did serve as a model for many local artists. So yes, I can see how a sculpture like the feminine one could have been inspired by dance.
Well, by intent, it was also inspired not just by the feminine one, by a classic dance form. My father describes in his journal 3 dancers back to back, legs slightly spread apart, arms outreached to the sky, forming each of the 3 facades, if you will, of the structure of the Space Needle, arms outstretched. My mother tells me that my father, before my mother's time, had a romantic relationship with Sevilla Fort. She moved to New York, and my mother tells me also that they visited her there and watched a dance performance of Sevilla.
Dancer choreographer Sevilla Fort has made a great contribution to the world of dance in this country. As a member of the Katherine Dunham Dance Company, she performed many, many years and performed in the classic movie Stormy Weather. She has indeed given much to the world of dance. And tonight here at this theater, the world of dance and theater will give something back to her.
I'm here to honor a lady whom I knew a long time ago. And I've seen her work, you know, and I've seen the results of her work. And she's a very important woman.
Without her, there would be no Katherine Dunhams or Alvin Ailey's and all of the fantastic dancers whom we have today.
More silently, more tenaciously, and more graciously than almost anybody else I know on the face of the earth, made one of the most powerful contributions to the field of dance, to the field of theater. And as a friend, and as someone who has meant so much to all of our lives, it was an honor for me to be asked to participate in this tribute to her tonight.
People that I know or knew that knew her, she had this very wonderful personality, really intelligent and you know, bubbly and just a really cool person. She ends up going to New York, of course, and ends up teaching people like, you know, Eartha Kitt, Harry Belafonte, James Dean. You know, these were all people that studied with her, so she had this theatrical connection as well. Of course, the most famous thing that she's associated with is the Dirty Footers. The modern dancers were all about expression and improvisation, where if you were a classical dancer, you had this sort of rigorous format that you had to follow. So she's right in the middle of it, and she was trying to reflect her African heritage. It's classical training, but with the modern aesthetic blending in with it.
I did go to the Seattle World's Fair when it opened, and riding up in the Space Needle in that glassy metal elevator that hung outside, you know, that in itself was a thrill ride.
One of the great attributes of the Space Needle is its relationship to the surrounds, to the city, to the sound and the ocean. We are not so high that you can't recognize a person walking on the street, and we really connect well to our city. And so there is a feminine angle to how do we bring people together and work. If you go from the 40s, that maybe were the inspiration for the artists, the artwork coming out in the 50s, the Victor Steinbrück looking for a design in the 60s, it is built, and then here we are 56 years later. The Space Needle certainly has become the grand dam and the matriarch of the city.
There's gender in architecture. We see faces in architecture. We see bodies. We see other body parts in the architecture.
To fast forward and see the emergence of powerful, strong leaders who happen to be women is interesting. Was the Space Needle a predictor of what was going to happen in the future? Did they all come into their power and strength, together? I don't know.
It's really hard to speak on behalf of an artist that's not with us any longer. You can look at romance and love, which is the inspiration for so many pieces of art and literature and music. But trying to get to the source of any artistic expression or inspiration is almost impossible, because we're going to project our own experiences into it. And maybe that's what the artist wants in the first place.
We cannot let you dance, they said. We cannot let you fly. Your buttocks doesn't tuck, they said, and that's the reason why. If your skin was white like ours and your buttocks small, then perhaps you'd have a chance, they said. But I refused that call. I'll learn to dance indoors, I said. Find some other songs. Ones that tell me who I am, tell me I belong. I'll be the first at Cornish, and then one day, you'll see, your children will walk and watch, search the sky for me. At first, my curved winged fire, at first, my blossoming bloom, will be the stories that you tell back in your living room. The Space Needle is my whisper. My arms are still in flight. My leap of legs in concrete, a grand plie at night. I dance throughout the city, though so few know my name. I am not Dunham, but I pirouette her flame. See my curved wing fire, watch my blossoming bloom for the unknown children in Seattle living rooms.
Hi, I'm Annie Stalker. I have 2-dog yoga in Lake City, Seattle, and we offer chair yoga classes to the seniors who participate in Sound Generations at the Lake City Community Center on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So yoga is a pathway for us to connect with, learn about, and care for ourselves. So today we're going to be practicing chair yoga. So we're using the chair especially for those of us who have difficulty getting up and down from the floor, and also for those of us who have difficulty standing for any length of time, or those of us who have pain or instability when we stand. So the chair gives us a nice place to be stable as we move in our body, as we breathe, as we quiet our mind. So let's get started with our chair yoga. So the first thing I wanted to show you is that I'm sitting in a folding chair, and the reason for that is that it's firm. Behind me and underneath my tush. So you want to try to find a chair in your house, maybe a kitchen chair or a dining room chair that has some firmness to it so that you can scoot yourself back in the chair and feel the support from behind and feel the support underneath your bottom. So once you do that, press your feet on the floor and feel how your whole foot is contacting the floor. Okay? So you should feel very well supported by the floor, the seat of the chair, and the back of the chair. Now, if you happen to be someone who's smaller, shorter, you might need to put something underneath your feet if your feet don't quite touch the floor. So an option for that would be to take a blanket underneath your feet, or something that gives you some height underneath your feet so that you're not reaching for the floor with your feet. Okay, so I'm going to put that blanket by the side there. So once you've found a comfortable seat that you can rest yourself back into, rest your hands on your thighs. We're going to close our eyes and start to pay attention. Start to listen. Start to notice as you inhale and exhale what it feels like to breathe in and what it feels like to breathe out. You may be noticing that your belly moves, your chest moves. You may feel some movement in your shoulders as you breathe in, lifting, expanding. You might feel, as you exhale, a release, a relaxation, a dropping of those parts of your body. So go ahead and continue inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. Inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Keep breathing. See if you can narrow the opening of your mouth like you're whistling, so that there's a narrower opening and therefore the breath comes out more slowly as you exhale. Inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Let's do 2 more times of that, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through your mouth. 1 more time, inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. And now go back to natural breathing. That might mean you close your mouth, might mean you breathe only through your mouth, might mean that your breath is a little staggered and stops, but let it be natural. You're not trying to do anything with it. And notice now the afterglow of the focused breathing practice. Inhale and exhale. Now take your hands together and rub them, and keep our eyes closed a little bit longer here. Rub your hands vigorously, feel the warmth generating in your hands. And now take your palms to your eyes and let the soft circumference of your palm merge with the bony circumference of your eye socket. Tip your head down into your hands so that you're relaxing your neck some. And again, inhale through your nose. And exhale, you can make some sound, maybe a sigh as you exhale. 2 more times, inhale through your nose. And exhale, relaxing, letting go of any of the things that you're holding in your heart, in your shoulders, in your belly. 1 more time, inhale. And exhale, Now let your hands slide down your face, across your heart center, and then down into your lap. And take a moment to feel the afterglow, what I like to call a melting moment after the focused effort. And very slowly open your eyes and let your gaze be soft so that the colors and the shapes are soft around you. That's it. Very good. Nice, yeah. And notice what it's like to open your eyes and feel and see and sense what's around you. That's it. Good. We're connecting. We're connecting with ourselves. We're learning about ourselves and our capacity to breathe. We're feeling a sense of community with our body, with our heart, with our mind. Good. So now let's slide the hands towards knees reach towards your knees and let your back round. So at this point, your head's dropping down, your back is rounding, and your exhalation. And then inhale, slide your hands back and lift your heart. Do a little bit of a back bend. Good. Inhale and exhale, slide your hands forward, round your back, hollow your belly button back towards the chair. And inhale, slide your hands back and lift your chest. One more time, exhale, hands sliding forward towards your knees, rounding your back. And inhale, slide your hands back, lift your chest. Good. And then come back and relax into the chair and notice how your spine feels now. Good. Another one of those melting moments. All right. Let's take our left ear towards our left shoulder. So go as far as feels comfortable. You don't have to go any further than feels safe and comfortable for you as far as a side stretch for the side of your neck. That's it. Now reach your right arm out to the side and feel that that increases the stretch. Inhale and exhale. And now turn your right palm face up. As you turn your right palm face up, you'll notice that your right elbow bends some. And I want you to do that because we're going to imagine that we have something in our right hand. So if you had something in your right hand, you'd be using the muscles throughout your right arm and chest and belly to hold your arm out in this way. I like to imagine that I have a papaya in my hand. Not a bowling ball, not a balloon, something in between. For me, it's a papaya. Inhale and exhale. Turn your chin down now over your left chest. So now as you turn your chin down, you're feeling more of a stretch down from the base of the head down to the inside of your right shoulder blade. Inhale and exhale. If you want to increase this stretch, you can take your left hand very lightly behind your head and add some weight. It doesn't take much pressure to increase the stretch there. Inhale and exhale. One more time, inhale and exhale. Take your left hand now into your lap in the middle, resting on your thighs. And with your next inhalation, lift your head and your right arm back to the center. So your right hand is directly above your left hand, kind of like periscope mirrors, right above the other. Good. Inhale and exhale. And now slowly, with soft eyes, bring your right hand down to meet your left hand. This is a little bit of what's called Qigong. So it's kind of a quiet, focused, gentle movement. Good. And then rest your hands in your lap and relax. Inhale and exhale. And take your right ear towards your right shoulder. Ah, this feels different. This is a different side for me. Walk your left hand out through the air. Feel the beginning of the stretch along the side of your neck, down the arm, maybe into your forearm. Inhale and exhale, turn your left palm face up and bend your elbow just a little bit. And imagine whatever you've decided to imagine in your hand so that you can feel the muscles of your arm, your side body, even your belly bracing, engaging to hold your arm in this position. Good. Inhale and exhale. And now turn your chin down over your right chest with a change in the sensation in the back of your neck. Let your head drop down. Inhale and exhale. Again, if you'd like more stretch, remember it doesn't take much. Take your right hand behind your head very lightly to draw your chin down. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And take your right hand down into your lap, palm face up. And with your next inhalation, bring your left arm up slowly. Bring it back in like a flower petal, curling back in. And now one hand is above the other, spine is tall, heart is lifting, very nice. Now bring your left hand slowly down towards your right hand. Very slow movement down all the way. Eyes are soft. Good. That's it. And rest your hands in your lap and have one of those melting moments now, just feeling the echo of the effort that you just made. Good. Now we'll bring both arms out to the sides. And I want to point out here that if you have a shoulder injury, if you have recent shoulder surgery, you can keep your arms in quite close here. Bringing the arm in close will allow you to have more support for any sensitivity or pain that you have in your shoulder. If you're able to, bring your arms out to the sides a little bit wider. That's it. So again, we're imagining that we have some weight in our hands. Spreading the fingers, making the hands curve like bowls out, holding whatever it is that you're holding. Inhale and exhale. Let your arms be slightly forward of your chest, because when we bring our arms back like this, you can feel, if you try it, that your neck muscles will start kicking in and engaging too much. So bringing the arms forward helps the shoulder blades melt down, helps the heart lift, and helps you engage more of the front body muscles. Very good. Inhale, and then exhale. Let's hug ourselves. Bring right arm on top of left. Again, if it feels like too much here, you can hold here. If you're able to hold here, you can give yourself a good pat on the back for making it to yoga class today. And this kind of patting on your shoulder and down your side ribs into your lungs gets the blood moving, gets everything stimulated. So a nice big pat on the back. That's it. Once you've done that on both sides, give yourself a good hug. And then once again, round your back. Curl your spine down. I like to call this conscious slouching. So sometimes it's okay to slouch. Inhale and exhale and feel the stretch between your shoulder blades. Inhale and exhale. Bring your elbows and your head a little bit over to your left. It's a twist to your left. Head, elbows, shoulders drawing over to the left. Inhale and exhale. And now inhale, come back to the center. Exhale in the middle, still slouching, letting your head drop down. Inhale. And exhale over to your right. Twist to your right. I can feel it's just a little more tight for me to turn to the right. Inhale and exhale. And inhale, come back to the center. Push your feet into the floor. Feel that firm foundation through your feet. Draw your belly button back to the back of the chair, and now unfold your spine against the chair back as you unfold your arms back into the bowl or the flower opening up, or if you have injury in your shoulder, keep your elbows in close. Inhale and exhale. Imagine you have those weights in your arms. Lift your heart. Lift up through the top of your head. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Second side, so the other arm on top. Left arm on top of the right. Hug however feels comfortable. If you can give yourself a good squeeze, go ahead and do that. Maybe imagine someone near and dear giving you a hug. You haven't had enough hugs lately, I know. So hug yourself and then give yourself a good pat on the back when you get to yoga. Firm pat on those lungs. Good to help our lungs get stimulated. And then go into your conscious slouching. Round your back, drop your chin down. Press your feet into the floor. Inhale and exhale. Draw your belly button back to the back of the chair. Inhale and exhale. And now turn your shoulders, your elbow, your head to your left. We'll twist. Inhale and exhale, feeling the extra stretch, likely around your shoulder blade, the right side of your neck. Inhale back to the center. Exhale. Ooh. And then inhale over to your right. Twist, turn of your head. Maybe you go a little further if you want more stretch for your neck, your shoulders. Inhale and exhale. And then inhale back to the center. Good. Unfold your spine. Press down through your feet. Belly button back into the chair. Unfold your arms maybe a little bit wider this time. Maybe your heart can lift even more. Maybe your gaze can look up above horizon level. Inhale and then exhale. Palms together and all the way back to the center. Okay. And release your hands down. Melting moment. Another time when you can let your body relax and listen and feel what's there. Warm, easing muscles. Okay. So again, we're going to plant our feet, keep the knees facing over the toes. We're going to push down through our hands, so we're pushing down through the hands to lift your heart. And lean back against the chair to get that little bit of lift of your chest. Inhale and exhale. Now turn to your right. Right hand comes to the side of the chair. Maybe you have an armrest on your chair. You can put your hand there. And your left hand comes onto the inside of your left knee. But you don't want to move your left knee, because if you push there and let the knee go out, you're not going to get any help from your left arm. So keep your left leg very stable. As you inhale, grow tall. And exhale, gently turn to your right. Turning belly, turning chest, and then turning your head to look over your right shoulder. Inhale, grow tall. And exhale, gently turn your head to the right. The last part of the turn, you can tip your head down just a little bit on the right. But be aware that you're not bringing your shoulder blade up to your ear. Right shoulder blade is going down as you look over your right shoulder. Left leg is stable. Inhale and exhale. And now slowly turn your head to look over your left shoulder. Just your head looking over your left shoulder now. Inhale and exhale. And now the left ear tips down just slightly as you turn your gaze to look over your left shoulder. Inhale and exhale. Good. And then release back to the center. Ooh, that's a good melting moment. Everything got a little bit wrung out. So quiet, easeful, relaxed breath now. And we have two sides. So you might either feel kind of excited that we have a second side, or you might be, darn, we have to do another one. But if you go out just doing one side, you'll be leaning like this. You'll be imbalanced. So we got to do the second side. So plant your feet, firm your legs, grow tall. Feel the chair behind you as you gently turn to your left, through your belly, your ribs, through your chest. Take your right hand on the inside of the right knee, left hand on the armchair, or onto your seat here. Inhale, grow tall. And exhale, gently turn to your left. Inhale, grow tall, and gently turn to your left. Left ear now tipping down at the very last part of the twist in your spine. Your gaze turn off in the distance over your left shoulder. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Slowly turn your head now to look over your right shoulder. Very slowly. Ooh, that feels a little tighter on me. Lift up through the top of the head. Turn to look over the right shoulder and let the right ear drop down some now. Soft jaw, soft eyes. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale, and slowly release. Good. Another melting moment. Okay, good. Relaxing into the chair now, feeling how maybe you're warmer in your back. Maybe you're warmer in your shoulders. Yeah, good. Okay, so let's take our hands together, bringing the hands together, palm to palm, finger to finger. We're going to open up our palms like it's a book, like we're opening a book. Okay, so open up your hands like you're reading a book, and then turn the hands even more so the backs of the hands come to touch. My fingers are pointing towards my throat right now. This is a big stretch on the wrist here and can be very helpful if you have issues with your hands, especially if you've been on a keyboard or you've maybe been in the garden clipping, so you can get a good stretch through the wrist here. Carry on moving your fingers down, so you're turning your fingers down, keeping the backs of the hands together. Reach the fingers forward and round your back and reach out, forward, and drop your head down. Inhale and exhale. Bring your hands over to your right, back to the center, and over to the left. And back to the center. Good. And then inhale, bring your hands back. Try to keep your shoulder blades down your back as you bring the hands with the fingers pointed down. And then swing the fingers up and around and now down. Notice how my elbows are at the same height as my wrists. So they're not down here, they're up here. This will give that same stretch on that side of the wrist now. And do it one more time. Notice my elbows are up, but my shoulders aren't towards my ears. So my shoulders are down, but my elbows are up. That's it. Good. Inhale, open your palms. Elbows do come down at this point, like you're looking at a book. Take the backs of the hands together. Back of the wrists stretch. Take your fingers down. Notice my elbows just came up. Reach forward. And now as you reach forward, draw your belly button back, drop your chin down. And now let's take the hands over to the left. Twist over to the left. Back to the center. And now over to the right. And back to the center. And inhale. Bring the hands back in a little quicker this time. Back to the center. Palms together and down. Good. Now inhale. Bring your palms apart, come onto your fingertips. It's like you're lifting your wings. And exhale, fingers and palms together as the elbows come down. Inhale, palms and fingers apart, coming to your fingertips. And exhale, back down. And pause there for a moment because I want to add a part of working with our mouth that I talked about earlier. So we're going to inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth, but I'd like you to keep a narrow shape for your mouth, like you're whistling, so that when you exhale, your breath is nice and slow. So it goes like this. Inhale through the nose and exhale. Long exhalation. Good. So let's add the breath to the movement of the arms. Inhale, hands apart, lift the elbows. Exhale. 2 more times. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Good. Release your hands down into your lap. Another one of those melting moments. And in fact, we can shake our arm out like this, and then the other arm out like this. This is a little bit of lymph movement for the body to help the lymph move. And then raise your right arm up and take your left fingertips and tap up and down your arm. This is not necessarily yoga again, but it's a way to get the vessels, especially the lymph in our immune system vessels going. And then all the way across the collarbone and into the sternum bone. Good. And then notice the difference between the two sides. And let's do the other side. Shaking the arm out and then lifting it up. And take your right hand and tap with your fingertips. So my fingernails, I can feel them a little bit, and that's okay. That's okay to feel the fingernails a little bit on your skin. That's stimulating, wakes up the tissue and the vessels, gets the lymph moving in the body. That's it. And then come across the collarbones, good area for lymph again, and into the sternum. Good, and then rest your hands down on the legs. And again, one of those melting moments. Very good. Inhale and exhale. Okay. Now let's close our eyes. Close your eyes for a moment and feel what you're noticing in your body right now. Notice your back against the chair. Notice the feeling of your arms and your belly. Inhale and exhale. And gently open your eyes. We're going to do one more exercise before we do relaxation. So we haven't done a lot with the legs today, but I thought we'd do some with the pelvic movement. So we're going to do this rocking movement in the chair where you shift over to your left side or over to your right side, and you feel the body weight more down on the right side, and then lean over to your left side and feel the body weight over on the left cheek. Back to the center and over to the right side, and back to the center and to your left side. You can make your movement smaller if you'd like, or you could make it a little larger. You could lean a little further if you feel safe, like you're not going to fall off the chair. Come back to the center and over to the right. Again, you can make it just a small movement. And then next time you come over to your right, lift your left heel. And when you come back to the center, drop the heel and the hands. Back to the left side now, lifting your right heel, and then back to the center and let the heel come back down. Again, over to your right, lift the left heel, drop the left heel back to the center, and now over to your left, and drop the right heel. Good. Now we'll come back into our chair. We did just a little bit of work with our legs and our feet. That, in fact, again, is another pumping of our lymph system when we lift the heel and drop it quickly, so it allows us to get things moving in our body. Good. But now it's time for relaxation. So I'd like you to again scoot back into your chair and feel the contact of the chair behind you. Let your hands rest on your thighs. Revisit the feeling of your feet on the floor. And close your eyes. Relax your jaw. And underneath your eyelids, so with your eyelids covering your eyes, turn your gaze with your eyes closed. Imagine that you're looking down towards your knees. So you don't have to tip your head down. You're just underneath your eyelids, turning your gaze down towards your knees. That's it. That automatically relaxes the brain. And then with your jaw relaxed, you might find that your teeth are slightly parted. Your lips are slightly parted. And feel your hands resting on your thighs. And now inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth 3 times, just to circle back to what we did at the beginning of the class. Inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. One more time, inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. And now close your mouth and relax your breath. As we relax here, we're going to go into a moment of silence and see if you can stay with having a felt sense of what's going on in your body as far as warmth, relaxation, perhaps a quieter mind. Settled mind. And now take a deeper breath through your nose. Very slowly and gently open your eyes. Let there be a little twinkle behind your eyes. You can almost smile. And then inhale, bring your arms out, palms face up. And exhale, bring your palms together. Namaste. The light in me bows to the light in you. Thank you for joining me today. It's so good to see you. Thank you.